The truth teller. The one, the only, the non-speculative Doran. Coming out with another great video. Next WoW expansion. Everything we know about 11.0. That does rhyme. Yes, I've told you guys before, and I have a video on my own YouTube channel about it. It's going to be a pirate expansion. Doran's looks like he's calling it a Legion expansion. Let's see what he has to say about it, whether or not he is indeed correct or not.
Returning in the new expansion, we have the Ethereals possibly coming back. We have the Shadow of Azeroth hint related to Quota Lust. We have the possible reformation of the Burning Legion. We have the potential interference of the Natris and his Dreadlords. We have a ton of revamp hints. There are hints of a new continent. There is a brand new Titan facility we are yet to discover that it was hinted at. This is literally only half what we currently know, as there's so many hints for the next expansion. The new expansion will be announced only a few months from this video, so let us really quickly go over every single hint that we currently have and what we can take from that.
What can we take?
Did you know if you
Who's
lose
the
your wallet,
sponsor?
use this little tracker to find it through the app.
There it is.
Best of all, Exo, this video sponsor, has some really cool looking wallets. They got so many styles to choose from with premium leather and space-grade aluminum. You got amazing key cases, also with trackers, and you got 12 months warranty. So make sure to check out my link in the description and use code DORN.
Hold on real quick. Imagine you take a girl out to dinner and you pull this move.
12 months warranty.
Right there.
So make sure to check out.
You're getting it. That night, you're getting it. Guaranteed.
My link in the description and use
use
code
the link
DORN
below.
and get up to 25% discount. Check out Exter.
That's an instant panty dropper.
So the new patch was announced for the 5th of September, which means that 10.2 will most likely come out sometime around October, and it is all but 100% certain it will have the new expansion announced on this year's BlizzCon. The actual league season is going to really start any minute now. However, we actually have at
BlizzCon's
least
coming up.
10 interesting hints, but even more, and not just random speculations, but things that are literally in the game that we could data mine, that we can observe, and that we can draw speculations from. So let's cover every single one that we have. First of all, and something I'm pretty sure all of you have noticed, is the revamp part that has been happening for a few years now, but super hard in Dragonflight. And literally every single patch and mini patch, some things are happening. Most recently, we got the new skyboxes, some weather changes, but we've gotten everything from new assets.
Are we gonna get a revamped Silvermoon? Every time I see these assets, I'm like, damn man, are they gonna revamp Silvermoon? Are they finally going? We're getting dragon riding in Azeroth, like all over, right? We haven't even gotten regular flying in Silvermoon yet. So that revamp has to... We are literally getting Chapter 2 of flying in WoW, and Silvermoon hasn't even gotten Chapter 1 yet. So eventually they have to revamp Silvermoon. It's got to happen. It's also one of like the most beautiful in-game assets that's never been used in the game. Legit.
The new player skeletons, the new guard models. Blizzard also started
revamping the
holiday events. They're
into
constantly adding new customizations, new changes to keep the player models fresh. All of these are hinting at a revamp happening
Dragon racing this week, yeah.
Really, so
Not
far, a lot of ground has been set up for a big Cataclysm-style revamp to happen, as they have a huge backlog of new assets that they can really employ at any time. While I personally don't see the entire world of Azeroth being just completely remade next year, I could totally see a big area of it, such as Silvermoon or some of the other major cities, getting a huge...
I don't pre-watch this shit, I just speak the facts.
However, this is only the start, this is just the aesthetic part. To be completely honest, all the current hints at this point are leading us toward a Void-related expansion. This is the most heavily supported theory. I've already talked about Anshul, the Cosmic Wanderer, that may be related to Loon, but they have done so much to introduce Void as a cosmological force, and to really show us that there is a difference between the Void and the Old Gods.
Yeah, the Void is going to play a role, certainly, but I think it'll be like a BFA-esque role almost, or less so. Even less than there was in BFA. I think we're getting like a real big pirate expansion. We're going to sail the seas, go to the other side of the world, maybe get some revamps in terms of water effects and stuff like that. I think all that's going to happen, and the Void is going to play a role in it for sure. We're going to find the Void when we get there. But it'll be somewhat of background. You know, like BFA, it starts out in the background and then slowly comes to the forefront towards the end of the expansion. Jailer Pirates, my God. Why? Why you got to put that in my chat? Why you got to depress me this early in the morning?
This, I mean, we have literal old gods everywhere. We have the return of Zalatant, which was obvious in the newest cinematic. We have hints of Ashara returning from the Veil of the Void. Even more interestingly, we have the return of Ethereals that got hints at the start of Dragonflight, and now with the most recent patch as well. First, we got a coin that an Ethereal was observing us and learning from us, and now in 10.1.7 we data mined an ecodome that you may know is quite related to them, as we had seen these guys on Outland and we had seen their ecodomes. I'm not just talking about them because they could be a possible race, but you need to keep in mind when we're talking about a void invasion, void lords, I mean, this is
first time I flew into an ecodome back in Burning Crusade. I thought it was one of the coolest things ever. I really did. I spent tons of time in there, and I loved questing in one of those. Those were cool.
The race to talk about. These are people that successfully managed to fend off a Void Lord invasion for a little while until their forms got destroyed, and then they have been traveling the universe looking for revenge against the Void. If you wanted some tips on how to defend against Void Lords, I mean, these would be the guys to ask. They're pretty much exactly the same as the Draenei, just that the Draenei got burned by the Legion, these guys got burned by the Void. Even more interestingly, they could even be related to the brokers from Shadowlands that have been seeking the most secret knowledge of the universe.
I always thought they had similarities.
Some unknown reason. So
brokers
something is obviously going on with these guys, and they're all related to the Void. However, things get even more interesting with the hints. This Ethereal that is following us is tied to the Void Elves and their realm. Now in 10.1.5, we data mined some changes to that little part of Quatalas in northern Lordaeron that is not actually accessible, and it is called a Shadow of Azeroth, which many see as the potential new expansion name. For a few years now, this place had a strange void dome above it that has not yet really been explained. We don't know how tight this is, but obviously it is connected, since Blizzard at the start of the Dragonfight in an interview told us that something is definitely going on with the Ethereals. All of this was done on purpose. We just need to wait and see. However,
Ethereals are coming back for sure. We even talked about them as a playable race in one speculative video that we watched. I don't think that's happening necessarily, but the Ethereals are gonna play a role, just from the Ecodome. We already know that. Transmog for everyone, I guess.
Really, this is only 10%.
We also recently got the Ethereal toy in this trading post. So, Blizzard dropping little hints here and there.
We know the biggest and the most legit hint is that almost certainly Troll is returning as possibly the main character of the next expansion, or one of the main ones. As you may have seen, he was on the BlizzCon announcement out that Blizzard officially posted. On previous BlizzCons, we had Sylvanas just before Shadowlands was announced, and Jaina just before BFA was announced. Troll, other than a former war chief, is also a very powerful shaman, so this could...
Coincidence that Thrall has come back for this expansion, and so is Chris Metzen. We all know Chris Metzen is... Thrall is basically Chris Metzen's spirit animal. So, coincidence? No, I don't think so.
Indicates something with the elementals happening, or him saving the world in some way, possibly having something to do with the awakening of Azeroth. Now, in regards to old god hints, I really don't want to bother you, as I have like 15 different videos you can check out on all the hints that we have. But so far, let's say we know about Yashiraj, Yoxron, Zod. The only guy that we haven't really heard from is Katoon, but maybe they will change soon. However, of course, these are hints, but we also data mined two actually really interesting concrete things in 10.1.7. One of these is a Light Knight that we can't really tie to anything right now.
Is Shadowlands coming back? No, please, no.
Interesting data mine bit though is the so-called dimensional breaker, this Void Naru, whose model is actually showing up in the patch. We have no idea what he will do, but we had seen these guys in the past. They're an indication that the light and the void are intrinsically connected, two sides of the same coin. Now that we have learned that light also invades worlds, they aren't really
Bring back WoW, not
different. My guess is that somehow this is going to be connected to Anshul and the entire story arc of the Cosmic Void. The other popular hint that I'm not going to go into great depth because you probably heard it, it is this entire hidden continent. Super long story, super short, but it was for the longest time believed a continent exists next to Kalimdor that no one managed to return from. No one until a Night Elven pirate returned and apparently brought plunder and is forming a new expedition to go back. This was brought into Dragonfight in 10.0.7 and it still hasn't been relevant, so most likely this is next expansion content. There are also hints that the Titans couldn't deal with all the old god stuff and that they could have hidden a part of old god continent on Azeroth, which could obviously be this continent. About a month ago, we discovered that a Titan facility exists known as Uldas. This wasn't just some vague hint from some document. I mean, we literally got an item that can be used in Uldas, which means we will go there soon. Keep in mind, Titan facilities are generally on separate continents. We got Ulduar Northrend, Uldaman in the Eastern Kingdoms, Uldir in Zandalar. So this could totally be related to a new continent or a new zone or a new island that's
new Titan facility on the new planet.
Even more interestingly, this could relate to those rebellious Titan Forge that were were hinted at the start of the expansion. Now, things get even more interesting, 10 times more interesting. We know that the Ridicron is baiting the actual Titans to come to Azeroth,
he wants to go
which may just be the
fisticuffs
most
with
ridiculous thing that has ever happened on Azeroth, and we could very likely see them in person very soon. However, the crazier hint is that there are actually some things pointing at the Burning Legion being reformed. We've discovered some Burning Legion plans as well as some new demon models that are actually
He said
coming.
reformed, not reforged, guys. Don't start tripping. Don't start complaining, okay? It's not Burning Legion reforged. It's reformed. New leader.
In the new patch. Long story short,
Reforged
two
gives
very
bad
powerful
vibes.
former leaders of the Burning Legion have returned on Azeroth. Their rivals battling each other, also bringing demons. As their Natrazine, this could very likely involve the return of Denatrius and his entire plan, as let's be real, his story ended on a complete cliffhanger. Since the guy apparently manipulated both Sergeras and the Jailer, he definitely has a lot more up his sleeve than what he showed us in Revendred. However,
Sire Denathrius is a great character. Best thing that's come out of the last, 2 expansions at least. Sire, I hope we get more Sire.
if the Dreadlords are building
The Dreadlords for sure are going to play a role going forward
be
too.
like mind-blowingly crazy, like literally death controlling Fel as a cosmological force. Then
Both
of course
days.
we have Zalatat, which is like the hint for the next expansion. This is a potential 5th old god that we have literally seen in that cinematic that will probably return soon. Personally, I see her coming back in the next expansion or
I hope
at
she
the
gets
end
a
of
new model.
Dragonflight, and who even knows what she has planned.
She deserves
There's
a better
hint
model.
that old gods change plans on the fly, and while they follow the Void Lord plans, they might have switched to something just completely different. There were also hints that the other old gods defeated Zalatat, so she may
Never
not even
did.
be working to bring them back or the Void Lords, but she may just be working on her own selfish goals. Lastly, there is that guy
she
that
definitely
predicted
is.
BFA, Shadowlands, Dragonflight all the way back in like 2016
Yeah.
by using the logic that Blizzard rehashed.
So where's the logic? Where are we at now? Dragon line, so we're going to get an Elemental Lords line? I don't know. I don't know about that. Unless the elements play a big role in the new island we're going to. Horde and Alliance War, also a tough one to see.
Is one of the storylines from the previously successful expansions, which obviously
Man,
makes
though,
sense.
he nailed
So,
this shit.
Legion was continuation of TBC, BFA was the continuation of the Horde and the Alliance storyline from Mists of Pandaria, Shadowlands was based on the Lich King storyline from Wrath, and Dragonflight was based on the Dragon storyline, obviously from Cataclysm. His next speculation is that the expansion that is yet to be announced will be related to an elemental storyline from Cataclysm, as well as the Shah
We did recently
storyline
get
from Mists of
Ragnaros
Pandaria. Seeing that
shoulders.
we got Old God and elemental hints everywhere, he may be right once again, predicting the 4th expansion in a row. However, a lot of elemental stuff is happening in this expansion as well, so we may only be looking at the Shah, Yasharaj, Void stuff in the next one. Most interesting is that also heavy, and I mean heavy, World Soul of Azeroth hints from Zalatat and Ridicron almost certainly coming for her, to the Titans coming to claim her, and pretty much every other cosmological force that cares about the World Soul of Azeroth. So it is likely we could finally, after all this time, see the awakening of Azeroth as a World Soul in the upcoming expansion, or at least finally learning what she even really is. Thank you for watching. Check out the Heroes as a new playable race by clicking on the screen, and check out Nolan's Academy for videos on real world history. See you next time.
Yeah, a lot was said in the video, and yet not much was said in the video. I think we'll see the Void in the next expansion for sure. I think that's going to happen. I think the Void is inevitable in almost every expansion going forward in terms of playing a role in the forefront or in the background. They're going to be around. But I really think the theme of the next expansion overall is going to be pirate exploration, big new continent. That's how it's going to go. So I'm excited for it. We'll see.